What is poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we're taking a look at another series review, and we are taking a look at another Netflix original series today, and over the next 4 days, we're going to be taking a look at each season of Outer Banks. Outer Banks is a new season on Netflix, which does have 4 seasons, all roughly around 10 episodes each, which are roughly anywhere between 30 to like an hour-long episode, so 30 to 60 minutes per episode, with 10 episodes a season, so you can easily watch it within a good 10 hours like I have. I have been getting up at 7 in the morning and staying till like 4 o'clock watching this show, like bashing each season out all in one day, because that's what I do. That's what I do. I watch this full season in a day when I can, where I can. And I watched Outer Banks Season 1 today, so let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So without any further delay, let's take a look at what Google has to say. Outer Banks is a 2020 drama series that has a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb and a 79% Rotten Tomatoes. You can watch it on Netflix, and it is about a teenager enlists his 3 best friends to hunt for a legendary treasure, like learns his father's disappearance. So how the story actually goes, again, this is 10 hours of content, so I will condense it down into roughly 3 to 4 minutes of sort of speed through. So we have the main character, Josh, John B, and his father disappeared, and he is missing his father, and he goes around fishing with his mates, and he finds a sunken boat. On that boat is a key to a motel, which has a sort of gun and money in it. They then are like, holy shit, there's a compass here, which is his dad's compass, and they take that, and they unscrew the back, it says Redwood. They go to Redwood, which is not a place, not a person, but a lighthouse. They go to the lighthouse, they see a person, they're like, hi, my dad wanted me to come here. The lighthouse person's like, fuck off, and basically tells him to go to this one place. He goes to this one place, gets a package, opens that package, it's a map. The map then leads to the sort of ship. They steal a submarine thing. It goes under the water like a submarine drone, like a drone for the underwater. Goes into the water, they find the missing boat. They find the crashed boat. All throughout them doing this, they are being hunted by 2 guys. These 2 guys then get mysteriously murdered, and John B then enlists the help of one of the rich kids, because he needs to find more information about this one guy who managed to escape the boat. And he was the sole survivor who took all the gold, this 1400,000, or like 400,000 sort of gold bars, you know, of $1,400,000 worth of gold bars, worth of treasure on this boat. He brought it to the mainland and hid it under a house, and he sort of uncovers all this information from the sort of museum that he goes to with this girl. He starts to develop feelings for her, they get together, you know, cool. He then goes back, tells his friends like, what, you're working with her? That's fucking shit, no, we're not working together. So they trap them all on a boat together, so they can make friends and sort of settle their differences. They then find the gold. Unfortunately, her dad then takes the gold because he finds out about it. John B then moves in with his girlfriend, and his dad takes him fishing, or her dad takes him fishing. He tries to kill him, and it turns out he's the one that actually killed those 2 guys that hunted them down in the first place, and you know, he tries to kill John. He then frames John for murder of the other 2 guys, and also for attacking him, and also for killing a police officer who tried to stop him from taking off with the gold, and, you know, was arresting him for murder of, you know, someone else. We then have... oh my god, I'm struggling to breathe now. We then have John B managing to flee the island, and he gets caught up in a storm. The girl is with him, and they get picked up by another boat, and they sail away. Everyone in Outer Banks thinks they're dead. That is the basic sort of overarching story. I skipped over a couple of subplots and a couple of sub-details just to get through the overarching story. That's what happens in Season 1. Pretty fucking cool, not gonna lie. I absolutely loved Season 1. I thought it was really cool. It's not the best thing in the world that I've seen. Again, it's not like Arcane or anything like that, but it is still really interesting. I do think it is very similar to Goonies, with a group of sort of teenagers, young adults going to find some treasure. I really liked that mystery aspect where they were working together to sort of find the gold, and finding the gold and seeing how the characters sort of try and keep their information to themselves while also working together. Obviously, we're going to have clashes of heads, and it's interesting to see the characters argue and sort of see how their friendship dynamic works, and who's the real leader, who's the brain, who's the brawn, who's like, you know, this, that, and the other. And overall, no one is really one note. They're all very complex characters which have a lot going for them. They're not just like the brain, the brawn, the environmentalist, the girl, the leader. They are a team. Each one of them plays multiple parts and has multiple good qualities which will help them in like their sort of adventures, and I really do like that. And then towards the second part of the series, it turns into a much more crime thriller type of show where they're hunting down John B and trying to frame him for murder, and he's trying to sort of clear his name, but no one's listening to him because he's from the poor side of town. And it does really set up a really brilliant world, like in the first couple of episodes, and a really good mystery with his dad's disappearance, how the island is set up between rich and poor, how all the characters sort of communicate with each other and the character dynamics, and who likes who and who hates who. All that is set up so brilliantly in the first episode, and then we see them grow as characters, grow as a team, see how relationships shift and change and shatter throughout the entirety of the show, with how everyone starts acting when they get a little bit of taste of money, where they start being threatened, and when they start getting involved in something which is a little bit more bigger than themselves. And the acting is quite good. I really do like the acting here. The actors are all really interesting because I don't think I've ever seen any of these guys in anything else before. And I'm going to be honest, I thought that this was set in Australia from seeing the first couple of like teasers for it. But after watching it, I realized it's set in America, and that was quite clear quite fast because of their accents and, you know, where the show was taking place. But again, it is such a good show, and it is so underrated. I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't heard anyone talk about this show, like, ever. No one has ever brought up this show to me, being like, oh, you should watch it. I've seen nothing about it on TikTok. I randomly stumbled across it one day when doom scrolling through Netflix, trying to find something to watch. And I added it to my list because I thought it was interesting, and I completely forgot all about it until today. I have finally started watching it, and I am so upset that I slept on it. I am so upset that I slept on it, because this show should not be slept on. Like, season 1 is a fucking banger. It ends every episode on a cliffhanger, so you are hooked. So you are wanting to keep interested and keep pressing that continue watching button. Like, this is why I don't like watching half an episode. I like watching it all in one go because I want the full story. I want the full go. But this one ends it on a cliffhanger as well, with these two being on a boat and their mates thinking that they are, like, you know, dead. This season also has a lot of mature themes, which I did not expect them to tackle, and each person has their own issues. And one of my sort of more interesting sort of takes on this is with JJ. And JJ's parents are very abusive. They're not very nice to him at all. His mother abandoned him and his dad beats the living shit out of him. And I think they took that on really well, and showing the struggle of like how people have to deal with that, how that affects people mentally and physically, and how, you know, your mates just being there for you can help. And sometimes you can't do anything. Sometimes you can't, like, help in a physical way, but just being there, like, just your presence is helpful enough. And, like, seeing JJ go through that was really upsetting to watch, and made me like his character a whole lot more. I liked JJ from the get-go. He was always my favorite one, but seeing how much shit he has to go through really solidified him as like one of the strongest characters in the series. Like, he is one of the like best characters in the series, and I just love him. Like, I want to give him a hug. I want to make sure he's okay. Like, his friends did give him that hug, like, eventually, but he needed it sooner. He really needed that hug sooner. He really needs his support from his friends because they are the only good relationship he has in his life. So he needs them. And even him giving himself up and saying that he has nothing all the time is very upsetting to me, because no one should ever have to feel like they have nothing and that they aren't worth sort of anything because they have nothing to look forward to or they have nothing going for them. Like, he sacrificed himself to save his friend because he valued that friendship like a lot, and he also wanted to protect his friends. Like, he saw them as like Kay having a rich family, so she had like all that going for her, and how Pope had like his college scholarship, and he didn't have any of that, so he gave himself up. And that was such an impactful moment for the scene and for the story, because it just showed that AJ wasn't the asshole, or wasn't like this sort of loud, like obnoxious character, and that he did care for his friends a whole lot, and that was just his way of coping with what happens in his life, on like his day-to-day home life. And it's extremely upsetting, and it is genuinely a really brilliant show. I cannot wait to watch the other seasons, and season 1 is a solid 7 out of 10. Solid 7 out of 10. Masterpiece.